All right, let's dive right into this incredibly fun, completely chaotic explainer about a lost baby panda and his very unlikely rescue squad. The story is just packed with hilarious mix-ups, some surprisingly emotional character arcs, action-packed rescues, and this beautiful overarching theme of finding connection when you're totally isolated. It's an absolutely fantastic narrative. So let's unpack this wild journey together and see what it actually teaches us about finding family in the most unexpected places. This whole adventure kicks off with a simple yet totally disastrous question. What happens when a baby panda is mistakenly delivered to a grumpy bear? It's the classic inciting incident, right? The wrong package arriving at the exact wrong time. And it triggers this massive chain reaction that forces everyone entirely out of their comfort zones. Let's look at how this disaster actually unfolds.
So part 1, the stork's big mistake.
Before our heroes down below even know what's about to hit them, the stage is set way up in the clouds by a delivery service that, honestly, desperately needs a quality assurance department. Dispatch gives this very specific, incredibly exasperated warning to a stork named Carl. They tell him, "This time don't mess up. Last time you delivered a baby zebra to the horses." And what does Carl do? He gets completely confused. Mid-flight, he actually forgets whether the baby goes to the pandas or the bears, starts panicking, and literally drops the baby right over the absolute worst possible location in the forest. It just perfectly sets up the comedic tone for this whole explainer.
Moving on to part 2, the reluctant rescue team.
Down on the ground, the baby panda definitely doesn't land in some peaceful meadow or a soft pile of leaves. Nope. It drops right smack in the middle of a wildly escalating, highly destructive feud between two very different neighbors. On one side, you've got Oscar the rabbit. This guy is pure, unadulterated chaos. He's out here launching homemade rockets and accidentally destroying property just trying to have a good time. And on the other side, Make the bear. He's grumpy, he just wants peace and quiet, and he desperately craves what he calls a regular life. In fact, just moments before the baby falls from the sky, Oscar had actually blown up Make's house and his favorite boat with a rogue space rocket. So yeah, tensions are at an all-time high.
Now, despite the massive destruction he literally just caused, Oscar is thrilled by the arrival of the baby. He immediately pitches this big team-up, excitedly declaring, "We'll be like Batman and Robin, or Giant Viru." Make naturally flat-out rejects this. We've all had that one overly eager coworker, right? Make wants absolutely nothing to do with Oscar or this baby for that matter. But here's the catch. The baby will not stop crying, and the noise drives Make so crazy that he realizes, well, he really has no choice. He's forced to step up, grab what's left of his boat, and hit the river to track down the baby's real parents.
This journey takes them far from their ruined forest home. It's a massive trek, from navigating the treacherous river rapids, traveling vast distances to reach the Great Wall of China, and finally ending up deep within the giant python's lair. What started as a simple delivery error morphs into this epic, continent-spanning quest, pushing these two guys incredibly far out of their comfort zones.
Which brings us to part 3, meeting unique companions. Because let's face it, you can't have a proper road trip without picking up some incredibly strange, deeply flawed hitchhikers along the way. This mismatched team of outcasts has to figure out how to work together. We've got our core duo, Make and Oscar, but soon they're joined by Duke, this endlessly boastful pelican, Amir, a lonely tiger who'd rather write poetry than be fierce, and Giannis, a wolf who is literally paralyzed by his own inner voice of fear. It's a total recipe for disaster, sure, but it's also the perfect setup for some profound character growth.
Take Duke, for instance. This bird casually claims to have won a Mumbai sailing race, entertained the Queen of England when she was a baby, and eaten samosas at the Taj Mahal. Naturally, Duke drives Mak completely crazy with this non-stop bragging. But what's truly fascinating here, and honestly a great lesson in finding unexpected value, is that Duke's wild, exaggerated imagination is exactly what keeps the baby panda entertained. It stops him from crying during that long boat ride. It just goes to show how even our most annoying traits can sometimes become our greatest strategic assets.
But then, the team's progress hits a literal wall. The Great Wall of China, to be exact, standing an imposing 30 feet high and 16 feet wide. That is a massive obstacle. It seems completely impossible to cross for a bear, a rabbit, a wolf, and a tiger. But they actually conquer it, and they do it using Duke's bizarre past. He remembers his old circus pelican tactics, and using the principles of a giant slingshot, they literally catapult themselves over a 30-foot wall. It is this perfect, hilarious blend of absurdity and teamwork.
Let's look at part 4,
The giant python battle. After surviving the rapids and catapulting over the wall, the fun and games abruptly stop. The tone of our explainer suddenly shifts because the team wakes up to realize the baby panda wandered off in the middle of the night. They track these massive footprints through the dirt, leading straight to the yellow dirty fellow, a giant talking python who has cornered the baby panda and fully intends to make him his next meal. All of a sudden, the stakes of this journey are incredibly high. They aren't just delivering a package anymore, they are fighting for the baby's life.
And during this terrifying showdown, we get a deeply emotional breakthrough. Yanis the wolf yells out, "I am not Yanis, I am Jackie Yanis. I won't be scared anymore." You have to remember, Yanis has spent his entire life paralyzed by this imaginary bullying voice in his head, telling him he's weak, telling him to run away. But right here, staring down a giant python, he finally silences that inner demon to protect his new friends. It's a huge, triumphant moment of self-actualization, and a really powerful reminder of what can happen when we finally silence our own inner critic for the sake of others.
Here is exactly how their chaotic teamwork saves the day. First, Oscar and Amor distract the snake with pure, reckless bravery, throwing themselves right in harm's way. Second, Yanis the wolf charges into the fight, completely shedding that lifelong fear we just talked about. And third, this combined, relentless attack completely overwhelms the python, forcing it to release the baby. It proves that despite all their individual flaws and insecurities, they are an absolute powerhouse when they stand together.
That leads us right into part 5, Reunited and True Friends. With the villain defeated and their personal fears conquered, the team successfully pulls off their ultimate mission, returning the baby panda to its overjoyed, deeply relieved parents. But what happens to our ragtag rescue squad? Well, Duke the Pelican finally finds a captive audience of pandas who actually want to listen to his endless stories. Amor the tiger decides to stay in the peaceful forest so he can write beautiful poetry without any judgment. And Yanis, full of this brand new confidence, returns to his wolf pack to run in their local election. This journey didn't just save the baby, it gave every single supporting character exactly what they were missing to feel whole.
But what about our main duo? The emotional arc of the entire story wraps up with this incredibly heartwarming quote from Make the Bear. "Oscar, you can stay at my house. We are friends. There is no doubt about it." The Grumpy Bear finally gets it. He realizes Oscar isn't just some chaotic annoyance ruining his quiet life. Oscar is loyal, he's brave, and against all odds, he is true family. The power of their shared adversity forged an incredible bond, and they agreed to head back and rebuild their homes together, side by side. But right as they settle in to enjoy their happy ending, they look up. Another shadow appears overhead. It's the stork delivery service again, and a new, mysterious package is dropping from the sky right toward them. It leaves us with this fantastic, provocative question. What chaotic mix-up will they have to face tomorrow? Is it another baby? A wild animal? We have no idea, but we do know they're going to face it together. It really goes to show that sometimes our biggest mistakes lead us exactly where we belong. Thanks so much for exploring this journey with me, and keep questioning the world around you.